What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby? Yeah.
It's been another week, so you know what time it is. It's time for another video. Right now I'm really only posting once a week because, you know, I can only film in my barracks room, which really puts a limit on what I can do creatively. But I'm supposed to head back to Hawaii soon, so once that happens, I'm going to be posting more travel videos. I'm going to be posting diving, hiking, food challenges, anything you can think of and want me to do, I'm going to do it because I'm a people pleaser. But anyways, let's get into today's video. So I started working out back in 2016, my senior year of high school, because I realized that I was like a 6 or 7 in the face at best, and I couldn't bear to be fat and ugly. So I started working out. But I wasted a lot of time just making really dumb, easily avoidable mistakes because I didn't know any better. So today I'm going to walk you guys through 5 things I wish I would have known when I first started training, so hopefully you can avoid those same mistakes. Cue the intro.
We don't have an intro yet.
Fuck.
What do you mean we don't have an intro? We're 3 videos in, how can we not have an intro?
I don't know, man. You didn't pay me enough for that.
Can we put up my social media or use the outro or something?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, one of the big mistakes I made when I first started working out was my diet was not good. I didn't realize how important it was for my diet to match up with my training. Whether I was bulking or cutting, it didn't matter. I was just eating whatever I wanted. I was fresh out of high school, so naturally I didn't know how to cook because I was just now on my own for the first time. So I was eating a lot of fast food. I was eating at the galley a lot. And for those of you who don't know, the galley is just a cafeteria in the Navy. And they buy the cheapest food they can to serve as many people as they can. So as you can expect, it's not very healthy.
Tina, eat the food. Eat the food.
But once I started not seeing the results I wanted, I started doing some research and I found out some really important things. One of those really important things I found out was how important carbs were. You know, today's age, people think that if you even look at carbs, you're gonna get fat. Like, if you look at a piece of bread, you're gonna gain 5 pounds, just off the rip. But the truth is that carbs are our body's preferred source of fuel. So, if you're not getting enough carbs, you're not gonna perform as well as you could be because
It ain't got no gas in it.
when you're not getting enough carbs, you're absolutely gonna pay the price when it comes time to train because you're not gonna have enough glycogen. Glycogen is basically just what gives you energy when you're working out. It's energy stored in your muscles for quick, explosive movements like lifting. This was best shown in a study published in the Journal for Strength and Conditioning Research, where they had people do as many squats as they could in a fed state where they had plenty of glycogen, and then they had those same people repeat it after they had been fasting and didn't have any glycogen. The results showed that when they had glycogen in their system, they were able to do way more sets than they were when they didn't have it. So basically, if you're not getting enough carbs, when it comes time to work out, your body's going to give out a lot easier than it would normally. The second big mistake I made was not getting enough water. This is going to sound crazy, but I don't like water. You know, it doesn't taste good to me and it's a chore to drink it. But after doing some research, I found out how important it was to get adequate amounts of water and to stay hydrated. One study found that being dehydrated can lead to decreased motivation and make tasks seem like they're harder than they usually would be. A second study, also published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, shout out to them for all the work they're doing, had people do their 1 rep max on bench when they're hydrated and then again when they're dehydrated. When they were hydrated, they were significantly stronger. When they were dehydrated, their 1 rep max went down by up to 7 kilograms, which is an insane drop. But once they were hydrated again, it immediately rebounded. This just goes to show how important water intake is. If you're asking how much water is enough water, I recommend sticking to the 1 gallon rule, which is the amount recommended by the Institute of Medicine. I know for me that's a lot of water to drink, so if you're having issues with it, try adding flavoring, you know, put lemons in it, cucumbers, whatever your fix is. Another big mistake I made when I first started working out was not having a plan. So when I first started, my first year, I really didn't know any exercises. I went to the gym, I did squats, I did deadlifts, leg press, and curls because those were the only things I knew. And I didn't really make a lot of progress. At first it was good, I got excited about my little baby biceps. But as time went on, I really started to plateau. And then maybe a year in, I met some friends when I was in A school, and they taught me how to work out, basically. They showed me all these exercises, things that are super simple, like tricep extensions, or, basic bodybuilder movements that I didn't know. And once I started using those, I, once again, started making gains. But then after probably a year of that, I started to plateau again, and I couldn't really understand why. So I looked at my diet. I realized I hadn't been dieting in any way. I didn't have a diet plan. I didn't know how macros worked. I didn't know how many calories I needed to be eating when I was bulking or when I was cutting. I was just kind of going with the flow. And once I started dieting and matching my diet with my exercise, I started making even more progress. So if you don't know how to do these things, I highly recommend you rather go online and find a free plan, or find one of these fitness influencers who have their own plans. I use Zach Perna's, Sadiq Adzovic's, Matt Does Fitness. They all have really cheap plans that are super easy to understand. They give you a diet, workout, and it's going to absolutely help you blast through any plateau you have. And it's going to save you so much time and keep you from wasting so many gains. So I highly recommend that. Probably the dumbest, most avoidable mistake I made was just not getting enough sleep. I'm a young guy. I'm convinced I can go out all night, wake up in the morning, go to work, and go work out. My body's going to be fine. But the fact is that if you're not getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body's going to react almost the same way it does when it's dehydrated. It's going to give out on you way earlier than it normally would. So getting that sleep is so important. And studies have been done to show this, especially when it comes to compound movements, that if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be as strong as you normally would, movements are going to be harder, and your body's going to give out easier. So, really take the time to get those 6 or 8 hours, get that extra beauty sleep, so you're not only looking good, but you're feeling good when you're in the gym. The final mistake I made was not realizing how important form was. When you first start working out and you think about making gains, you think of people like Ronnie Coleman saying things like,
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but don't nobody want to lift no heavy ass weight.
But the truth is, you don't need to lift heavy to grow. And you definitely don't need to lift heavy if your form's not perfect yet. I already hear what you're saying. You need to lift heavy to grow. Blah, blah, blah. Bro science. But there's no real science to back that up. And there's plenty of science to show that lifting heavy and lifting light has the same effects. When you're lifting heavy, it's going to be infinitely harder to focus on your mind-muscle connection. Research has been done too that shows that when you have that mind-muscle connection, that you are going to activate more of the muscle you're working on. 2 separate studies happened where they had people do the bench press. Before they benched, they told them to focus on rather tricep or pec. And whichever muscle they focused on, they got more activation in that muscle. 2 studies, both done by Stuart Phillip, looked into lightweight, high reps versus high weight, low reps. And this is how they did it. So the first time, it was in 2012, they had 18 men. They had them split into 2 groups. One group did 30 to 40 reps on leg extension, and the other group did 8 to 12. And they did this for 10 weeks. At the end of the 10 weeks, they both had the same amount of quadricep growth. This experiment did catch a little bit of flack though, because a lot of the people in it were beginners, and as we know, beginners, they're not used to it, so their bodies will really react to anything. So he repeated the study in 2016, this time with 49 men, who on average had been training for at least 4 years. This time it was also a full body workout versus just leg extensions, but it was the same idea, 30 to 40 reps, or 8 to 12 reps. And at the end of it, both parties had the same amount of muscle growth. These 2 studies led to several other studies being done, as well as a meta-analysis, and they all came to the same conclusion, that lightweight and heavyweight has the same results as long as volume is equated for and sets are taken to failure. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is stick to lightweight high reps, just focus on your muscle-mind connection and really work the exercise. This is going to prevent a lot of stress on your joints and probably prevent a lot of injuries as well. So those are the 5 things I wish I knew when I first started working out. Hopefully now that you know them, you can avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made early on and save yourself a lot of valuable time. With some of that valuable time you're going to be saving, you should check out some of my old videos, as well as follow me on Instagram at Michael Barnes Fitness, where I post a lot of tips, tricks, and travel pics. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend, and until next time, stay strong.